The city hums with life, a pulse of honking horns, flickering neon signs, and footsteps echoing on cracked sidewalks. But in the shadows, where the glow of streetlights barely reaches, a woman sits alone, her back against a graffiti-stained wall. Her name is Lena Carter, though no one around here knows it. To the world, she's just another homeless figure, wrapped in a tattered green jacket, her eyes scanning the street with a quiet intensity most would miss. She's invisible to the crowds rushing by, to the cops patrolling the block, to everyone until tonight. Tonight, everything changes. Tonight, a routine patrol turns into a confrontation that will unravel secrets no one saw coming. This is the story of a woman the world forgot, a black woman who survived wars, carried scars deeper than anyone could guess, and became the deadliest sniper the Green Berets ever trained. And it's the story of a chance encounter on a crowded bus, where a black teen's small act of kindness sparks a moment that will change lives forever. Two stories, one city, one night, where the smallest choices lead to the biggest consequences. Welcome to a tale of courage, secrets, and second chances. Buckle up, because you're not ready for what's coming. It's a chilly evening in downtown Chicago, the kind where the wind cuts through your jacket and makes you wish you'd stayed home. Lena Carter doesn't have that luxury. Home is a sleeping bag tucked behind a dumpster in an alley off Michigan Avenue. She's been here for months, maybe longer. She's stopped counting the days. Her dark skin blends into the shadows, and her short, matted hair peeks out from under a worn beanie. To the people passing by, she's just another problem to step around, another reason to clutch their purses tighter. They don't see the way her hands rest steady on her knees, the way her eyes flick to every movement on the street, cataloging faces, cars, and exits without even trying. They don't know that those hands once held a rifle steady enough to hit a target a mile away, that those eyes have seen things most couldn't imagine. Lena doesn't talk about her past. Not to the shelter workers who slip her an extra sandwich, not to the other homeless folks who share their cardboard. Her past is buried deep, locked away with the medals she'll never claim and the nightmares she can't outrun. Tonight, though, the past is closer than she thinks. It starts with the screech of tires. A police cruiser pulls up to the curb, its lights flashing red and blue against the brick wall. Two officers step out, their boots heavy on the pavement. The taller one, Officer Malone, adjusts his belt, his hand resting on the holster at his hip. His partner, Officer Ruiz, scans the alley, her flashlight cutting through the dusk. They've been called about a vagrant causing trouble, some shop owner complaining about Lena sitting too close to his storefront. It's the third call this month, and Malone is tired of it. "Hey, you," he barks, his voice sharp enough to make a nearby pigeon scatter. "Get up. You know you can't be here." Lena doesn't move at first. She just looks at him, her face unreadable, like she's sizing him up. That's her first mistake. Malone doesn't like being ignored. He steps closer, his shadow falling over her. "I said, get up. Or we're gonna have a problem." Lena's been through this before. Cops, security guards, angry store clerks, they all see the same thing. A black woman with no address, no ID, no story they care to hear. She could tell them she's a veteran, that she served 3 tours, that she was the best shot in her unit. But she learned long ago that truth doesn't matter when you're sleeping on the street. So she stands, slowly, her joints stiff from the cold. Her green jacket, her old army surplice, the last piece of her old life, hangs loose on her frame. "I'm not causing trouble," she says, her voice low, steady. "Just sitting." Ruiz snorts, shining the flashlight in Lena's face. "Yeah, well, sitting's enough to get you a night in lockup if we say so." "You got ID?" Lena shakes her head. She lost her wallet months ago, or maybe it was stolen. "Doesn't matter now." Malone smirks, like he's won something. No ID, no excuse. Hands against the wall. Now. Across town, on a packed CTA bus rattling through the South Side, another story is unfolding. Jamal Harris, a lanky 17-year-old with a backpack slung over one shoulder, is squeezed into a seat near the back. His earbuds blast Kendrick Lamar, but he's not really listening. He's thinking about school, about the math test he probably failed, about how his mom's gonna kill him if he doesn't get his grades up. The bus lurches to a stop, and a pregnant white woman climbs on, her face flushed from the cold. She's maybe 30, with blonde hair pulled into a messy bun and a coat that barely zips over her belly. The bus is full, no seats left, and she grabs the pole, swaying as the driver pulls back into traffic. Jamal notices her, notices the way her knuckles whiten on the pole, the way she shifts her weight like her feet are killing her. He doesn't think twice. He stands, tugging out his earbuds. You can take my seat, he says, his voice soft but clear. The woman blinks, surprised, like she's not used to kindness from strangers. Oh, no, I'm fine, she says, but Jamal's already moving, gesturing to the seat. It's cool. I'm good. She hesitates, then smiles a real smile, warm and grateful, and sits down. Thank you, she says, and there's something in her voice, something heavy, like she's carrying more than just a baby. Jamal nods, grabbing the strap overhead, and goes back to his music. He doesn't notice her watching him, doesn't see the way her hand slips into her purse, pulling out a small notebook. She scribbles something, tears off the page, and folds it carefully. As the bus slows for the next stop, she stands, pressing the note into Jamal's hand. This is for you, she says, her eyes locking with his. Don't lose it. Before he can respond, she's gone, disappearing into the crowd. Jamal unfolds the note, his heart pounding for reasons he can't explain. The words scrawled there make his breath catch. It's not just a thank you. It's something bigger, something that could change everything. Back in the alley, things are going south fast. Lena's hands are against the wall, her feet spread as Malone pats her down. He's rougher than he needs to be, yanking at her jacket pockets, tossing her few belongings, a half-eaten granola bar, a folded top, onto the ground. Ruiz stands back, her flashlight still trained on Lena's face. You got anything on you we should know about? Malone asks, his tone daring her to lie. Lena's jaw tightens, but she stays quiet. She knows this game. Say nothing, do nothing, and maybe they'll get bored. But Malone's not in a patient mood. He grabs her arm, twisting it behind her back, and that's when something shifts. Lena's body tenses, her muscles coiling like a spring. She could break his grip in half a second. She could have him on the ground before he even blinks. She's done it before, men bigger than Malone, men with knives, men with guns. But she doesn't. Not yet. She breathes, slow and deep, forcing the instinct down. I'm not resisting, she says, her voice like steel. Let go. Malone laughs, but it's not a good laugh. It's the kind that says he's enjoying this too much. Oh, you're gonna tell me what to do now? He tightens his grip, and Ruiz steps closer, her hand on her taser. Keep talking, and you'll be in cuffs. Lena's eyes flick to the alley's mouth, where a small crowd is starting to gather, people with phones out, recording, whispering. She hates this, the eyes, the cameras, the way it makes her feel like an animal in a cage. But she's been here before, in worse places, with worse odds. She knows how to survive. Still, something's different tonight. Maybe it's the way Malone's fingers dig into her arm, or the way Ruiz's taser hums, ready to fire. Maybe it's the weight of too many nights like this, too many years of being invisible. Whatever it is, Lena's running out of reasons to stay calm. On the bus, Jamal's still staring at the note, his mind racing. The words are simple, but they hit like a punch. You're worth more than you know. Call this number. It's your shot. Below it, a phone number and a name, Claire. Jamal's never heard of her, doesn't know why she'd give him this, why she'd think he's worth anything. He's just a kid from Englewood, scraping by, trying not to mess up too bad. But the note feels like a lifeline, like maybe, just maybe, someone sees something in him he can't see himself. He slips it into his pocket, his fingers brushing the worn edges, and makes a decision. He's gonna call. Not tonight, but soon. He doesn't know it yet, but that choice, that tiny folded piece of paper, is about to set him on a path he never imagined. In the alley, the tension's about to snap. Malone's still got Lena's arm, and he's talking now, low and mean, words she's heard too many times about how she's trash, how she's lucky they don't drag her in. Ruiz is watching the crowd, her hand twitching toward her radio, like she's expecting trouble. Lena's done the math. She could take them both, Malone first, a quick twist to disarm him, then Ruiz before she can draw. It'd be over in seconds. But then what? A manhunt, more cops, no way out. She's not that person anymore. She left that life behind, buried it with her dog tags and her pride. But as Malone shoves her against the wall, as the crowd's murmurs grow louder, something inside her stirs. Not the soldier, not the sniper, but the woman who's had enough. Her eyes lock on Malone's, and for the first time, he hesitates, like he sees something he didn't expect. "You're making a mistake," Lena says, her voice so quiet it's almost a whisper. He laughs, but it's shaky now. He doesn't know who she is. He doesn't know what she's capable of. But he's about to find out. The city keeps moving, oblivious to the stories colliding in its veins. A woman pushed to her limit, a boy handed a chance, two lives hanging on the edge of a choice. What happens when a forgotten hero decides to fight back? What happens when a kid takes a leap into the unknown? The answers are coming, and they're gonna hit hard. Stick around, because this story's just getting started, and the next move could change everything. Who's gonna break first, Lena, Malone, or the kid with a note burning a hole in his pocket? You'll have to wait to find out. The alley smells like damp concrete and rotting trash, the kind of stench that clings to your clothes. Lena Carter's cheek is pressed against the rough brick wall, her arms twisted behind her by Officer Malone's grip. His breath is hot on her neck, his words a low growl, spitting insults she's heard too many times to count. "People like you don't belong here," he mutters, like she's less than the dirt under his boots. Officer Ruiz stands a few feet away, her taser still in hand, her eyes darting between Lena and the growing crowd at the alley's mouth. Phones are out, red recording lights blinking, and the murmurs are getting louder. Someone shouts, "Let her go," but it's half-hearted, drowned by the city's endless hum. Lena's heart pounds, not from fear, she stopped being afraid years ago, but from the effort of holding herself back. Every muscle in her body screams to move, to twist out of Malone's hold, to show him exactly who he's dealing with. But she doesn't. Not yet. She's learned the hard way that fighting back comes with a price, and she's already paid too much. Lena's mind flashes to another time, another place, sand in her boots, the weight of a sniper rifle on her shoulder, the crackle of a radio in her ear. She was 25 then, the only black woman in her Green Beret unit, the one they called Ghost for her ability to vanish into any terrain. She could hit a target from a mile away, her breath steady, her hands rock solid. 3 tours in Afghanistan, 2 in Iraq, and a chest full of medals she never claimed. But the memories aren't all glory. They're blood, screams, the faces of men she couldn't save. When she came home, the VA offered pills and platitudes, but no real help. The nightmares didn't stop, and the world she'd fought for didn't want her. No job, no family, no place to call home. So she drifted, from city to city, until Chicago's streets became her battlefield. Now, at 38, she's a ghost again, but not the kind she used to be. She's the kind people step over, the kind they pretend not to see. Malone yanks her arm harder, snapping her back to the present. "You deaf or something? I said spread your legs." His voice is all bravado, but there's a crack in it, like he's trying to convince himself he's in control. Lena complies, slow and deliberate, her eyes scanning the alley. She notes the dumpster to her left, the fire escape above, the crowd's position, escape routes, cover, threats. Old habits die hard. Ruiz steps closer, her flashlight beam jittery, betraying her nerves. "You got a name?" she asks, like it matters. Lena doesn't answer. Names are for people with lives, with futures. She gave hers up when she burned her dog tags in a trash can fire 2 winters ago. Malone's grip tightens. Answer her, or I swear he doesn't finish the threat, but he doesn't need to. Lena knows the script. She's played this scene before. Across the city, Jamal Harris is still on the CTA bus, the note from the pregnant woman burning a hole in his pocket. He's read it 3 times now, each word sinking deeper. "You're worth more than you know. Call this number. It's your shot." The name Claire and a phone number are scrawled in blue ink, the handwriting neat but hurried, like she wrote it on impulse. Jamal's fingers trace the paper's edge, his mind spinning. He's no stranger to scams. Growing up in Englewood, you learn early that nothing comes free. But something about the woman's eyes, the way she looked at him like she saw him, really saw him, makes him want to believe. He leans against the bus window, the glass cool against his forehead, and watches the south side blur by. Run-down storefronts, barred windows, kids his age on corners, their eyes hard. This is his world, and he's never expected to leave it. Jamal's life isn't complicated. School, where he's barely passing. Home, where his mom works double shifts at the hospital and his little sister, Tasha, asks questions he can't answer. No dad, no money, no big dreams. He's not stupid, he knows the odds. Black kids from his neighborhood don't get shots. They get stopped, locked up, or worse. But the note feels different, like a key to a door he didn't know existed. He pulls out his phone, an old cracked thing that barely holds a charge, and types the number, hesitating over the call button. What if it's a prank? Or some creepy recruiter for a shady job? He's heard stories, guys his age lured into gangs, trafficking, worse. But what if it's real? What if this Claire woman meant it? He locks his phone and shoves it back in his pocket, the note tucked beside it. Not tonight. He's not ready. Not yet. Back in the alley, the crowd's getting bolder. A woman in a red coat yells, "She ain't doing nothing." A teenage boy films, narrating like he's live on TikTok. Cops harassing another black woman. "Y'all, this is messed up." Lena feels the shift, the way the air thickens with anger, the way Malone's grip falters for a split second. He's nervous now, and nervous cops are dangerous. She keeps her breathing even, her body loose, ready for anything. She's not thinking about the crowd or the phones. She's thinking about the weight of Malone's holster, the angle of Ruiz's taser, the distance to the alley's end. She's thinking about survival, same as always. But there's something else, too, a spark she hasn't felt in years. Not rage, not fear, but defiance. She's tired of being nobody. Tired of taking it. For the first time in a long time, Lena Carter wants to be seen. Malone senses the change. He steps back, his hand still on her arm but looser now, like he's second-guessing himself. "Don't try anything stupid," he says, but his voice lacks the edge it had before. Ruiz glances at him, then at the crowd, her jaw tight. "We should call it in," she mutters, reaching for her radio. Lena stays silent, her eyes fixed on a crack in the wall, but her mind is racing. Calling it in means backup, more cops, maybe a trip to the station. She's been there before, fingerprint scans, questions she can't answer, a cell that smells like piss and despair. Last time, they let her go with a warning. This time, with a crowd and cameras, it could go either way. She could play it safe, keep her head down, let them win. Or she could push back. Just a little. Just enough to remind them she's not nothing. On the bus, Jamal's stop is coming up. He pulls the cord, the bell dinging, and shoulders his backpack. The note's still on his mind, heavy as a brick. He thinks about his mom, how she's always telling him to stay out of trouble, to keep his nose clean. "You're better than this place," she says, but he's never believed her. Not really. He steps off the bus into the cold, the wind biting his face, and heads down 63rd Street. The neighborhood is quiet tonight, but it's the kind of quiet that feels like it's waiting for something to break. He passes a mural of a black kid in a graduation cap, the words "You are enough" painted in bold letters. He stops, staring at it, the note's words echoing in his head. "You're worth more than you know." He pulls out his phone again, the screen glowing in the dark. This time, his thumb hovers closer to the call button. He's not sure what he's afraid of, disappointment, maybe, or hope. Both feel dangerous. In the alley, Ruiz's radio crackles to life. "Unit 12, what's your status?" Malone lets go of Lena's arm, stepping back to answer. "We've got a vagrant, no ID, possible trespassing. Requesting backup." Lena stays still, her hand still against the wall, but her eyes flick to Malone's face. He's sweating now, despite the cold, his bravado slipping like a cheap mask. The crowd's louder, more voices joining in, someone chanting, "No justice, no peace." Lena feels the spark grow, a heat spreading through her chest. She's not just a vagrant. She's Lena Carter, Green Beret, sniper, survivor. She's more than they'll ever know. And for the first time in years, she's starting to remember it. The radio crackles again, the dispatcher's voice sharp. Backups en route, ETA 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Lena's mind shifts gears, 5 minutes to decide who she's going to be. The woman who takes it, or the woman who fights. She doesn't move, doesn't speak, but her fingers flex against the wall, testing her strength. Malone's watching her now, his hand back on his holster, like he's expecting trouble. Ruiz is on edge, her taser still out, her eyes darting between Lena and the crowd. The alley feels smaller, the walls closing in, the tension thick enough to choke on. Lena's not sure what she'll do when those sirens come. But she knows one thing, she's done being invisible. And whatever happens next, it's not going to be quiet. The alley is a pressure cooker, the air thick with the threat of what's coming. Lena Carter stands with her hands against the cold brick wall, her breath steady but her mind racing. Officer Malone's hand hovers near his holster, his eyes flicking between her and the crowd, now a restless knot of bodies at the alley's edge. Their voices are sharper, someone yells, "She didn't do nothing," while another chants, "No justice, no peace." Phones are still recording, their tiny lights like fireflies in the dusk. Officer Ruiz grips her radio, her knuckles pale, as the dispatcher's voice crackles again. Unit 12, backups 2 minutes out. Hold position. 2 minutes. Lena's been in tighter spots, desert ambushes, midnight raids, but this feels different. It's not just about survival now. It's about who she's going to be when those sirens hit. The Green Beret sniper who could end this in seconds, or the homeless black woman who's learned to swallow her pride to stay alive. Her fingers twitch against the wall, itching for a choice she hasn't made yet. Malone's sweating harder, his bravado cracking like cheap paint. He steps closer, his boots scuffing the pavement, and leans in, his voice low. "You think you're tough, huh? Think you can stare me down?" Lena doesn't blink. She's faced worse than him, men with AKs, men with nothing to lose. But Malone's different. He's not a soldier, he's a bully with a badge, and that makes him unpredictable. She could disarm him before he draws, could have him on his knees in a heartbeat. The thought lights a fire in her chest, but she smothers it. Not here, not now. The crowd's too close, the cameras too many. She's not invisible anymore, and that's a problem. "I'm not your enemy," she says, her voice calm, almost too soft to hear. Malone flinches, like her words are a slap. He's not used to calm. He wants fear, or anger, something he can use. Lena's giving him nothing, and it's driving him crazy. Across town, Jamal Harris walks down 63rd Street, his sneakers slapping the cracked sidewalk. The note from Claire, the pregnant woman on the bus, is folded tight in his pocket, its words stuck in his head. "You're worth more than you know. Call this number. It's your shot." He's still not sure what to make of it. Hope is a dangerous thing in Englewood, where dreams get crushed faster than empty cans. He passes a corner store, its neon open sign flickering, and spots a couple of guys he knows from school. They're leaning against a wall, hoodies up, eyes scanning the street. One of them, Dre, nods at him. "Yo, Jamal, you good?" Jamal nods back, keeping his pace. "Yeah, man." He doesn't stop. Dre's cool, but his deep in stuff. Jamal's mom warned him to steer clear of deals, crews, the kind of life that ends in a cell or a casket. Jamal's not about that, but he feels the pull, the weight of a neighborhood that doesn't let go easy. He pulls out his phone, the screen's cracks catching the streetlight. The number's still there, saved but not called. He thinks about Claire, her tired eyes, the way she smiled like she meant it. What could she want with him? Maybe she's a teacher, or some do-gooder with a program for at-risk youth. He's heard that phrase too many times, always with a pitying look. Or maybe it's something else, something real, like a job, a scholarship, a way out. The thought makes his stomach twist. He's never let himself want things like that, not since his dad left when he was 8, promising to come back and never showing. Jamal learned then that promises are just words, and words don't pay bills. But the note's different. It's not a promise, it's a challenge. He stops under a street lamp, his thumb hovering over the call button again. The wind picks up, carrying the distant wail of sirens, and he wonders if his Hawkins is too far away to hear. Back in the alley, Ruiz is talking fast into her radio, her voice tight. "We've got a crowd, maybe 20 people, Getting hostile. Need that backup now. Lena's ears catch the word hostile, and she knows what it means. More cops, more weapons, less chance of walking away. The crowd's not helping, they're loud, angry, but scattered, no real plan. A guy in a Cubs hat pushes forward, yelling, "Y'all can't keep doing this," but is held back by a woman who looks like his mom. Lena's seen this before, protests that fizzle, outrage that burns out. She doesn't blame them. They're tired, same as her. But their anger's making things worse, stirring Malone into a cornered animal. He grabs her arm again, yanking her away from the wall. "You're coming with us," he snaps, like it's her fault the crowd's here. Lena stumbles, catching herself, her body coiled but still. She could break his wrist right now, could make him scream. The thought's tempting, but she pushes it down. "Not yet." From the crowd, a new voice cuts through, older, steadier. "Officers, what's the charge?" It's a man, maybe 50, in a worn suit, his hair grey at the temples. He's holding a briefcase, like he's just off work, but his eyes are sharp, taking in the scene. Malone glares at him. "Stay back, sir. This doesn't concern you." The man doesn't move. "I'm a lawyer. If you're detaining her, I'd like to know why." The crowd murmurs, some cheering, others whispering. Lena's stomach tightens. A lawyer's good, but it complicates things. Malone's not stupid enough to escalate with a witness like that, or is he? Ruiz steps forward, her taser lowered but ready. "She's trespassing, no ID. We're handling it." The lawyer raises an eyebrow. "Trespassing where?" "This is public property." Malone's face reddens, and Lena feels his grip tighten, his fingers digging into her skin. He's losing control, and that's when things get dangerous. On 63rd Street, Jamal's still frozen, phone in hand. The sirens are louder now, closer, and he glances up, uneasy. Sirens mean trouble in Englewood, cops, ambulances, something bad. He thinks about his mom, working the night shift, and Tasha, probably at home watching YouTube. He should be there, helping with dinner, not standing here chasing some stranger's note. But he can't shake it. He thinks about the mural, "You are enough," and Claire's words, looping in his mind. "You're worth more." He's never felt worth much, not with DS on his report card, not with his mom's tired eyes when she looks at him. But what if Claire's right? What if this is his shot? He takes a breath, his thumb pressing the call button before he can talk himself out of it. The phone rings once, twice, then clicks. A woman's voice answers, soft but clear. "Hello, Jamal." His heart stops. How does she know his name? The alley pulses with chaos, a heartbeat of shouting voices, flashing lights, and the screech of sirens swallowing the night. Lena Carter's hands are still against the brick wall, but her body is a live wire, every muscle taut, every sense razor-sharp. The backup cops, 4 of them, all stone-faced and heavy-handed, fan out, forming a loose semicircle around her and the crowd. Officer Malone's grip on her arm is shaky now, his confidence eroded by the lawyer's calm questions and the crowd's growing defiance. "Badge number, officer," the lawyer repeats, his phone steady, his voice cutting through the noise like a blade. Malone ignores him, his eyes darting to the new cops, then back to Lena. He's trapped, and he knows it. Lena feels it too, the moment when control slips, when things can go quiet or explode. She's been here before, in war zones where one wrong move meant death. Her heart thumps, not with fear, but with the weight of a choice she's seconds from making. The Green Beret sniper inside her is awake, and she's done playing invisible. The crowd's louder now, a mix of anger and fear, their phones catching every move. A young woman in a yellow scarf yells, "Let her go, she's just homeless," but her voice cracks, like she's scared of what's coming. The guy in the Cubs hat is back, pushing closer, his fists clenched. "Y'all ain't right for this," he shouts, and the crowd surges forward, a wave held back by nothing but the new cop's glares. Officer Ruiz is barking orders, her taser raised, her face pale. "Back up, all of you, or you're getting arrested." The lawyer steps forward, undeterred, his briefcase on the ground now, his phone still recording. "You're escalating without cause," he says, his tone steady but firm. "This woman hasn't resisted." "What's the charge?" Malone snaps, "Shut up, Or you're next, but his voice is high, panicked, like a man drowning. Lena's eyes flick to the fire escape, the dumpster, the alley's end, her options shrinking as the seconds tick down. She could run, fight, or stay still. None feel right, but doing nothing feels worse. Across the city, Jamal Harris is sprinting down 63rd Street, his breath puffing in the cold air, the note in his pocket heavier than ever. Claire's voice, calm, knowing, saying his name like she'd always known it, echoes in his head. Meet me tomorrow, noon, at the coffee shop on 47th, bring the note. He's not sure what is running from the sirens, the red and blue lights flashing closer, or the fear that he's stepped into something he can't handle. His phone still in his hand, the call ended but its weight lingering. How did she know his name? What does she want? The questions burn, but so does the hope, fragile and unfamiliar, that maybe this is real. Maybe he's worth more, like she said. He ducks into an alley, his sneakers splashing through a puddle, and leans against a wall, catching his breath. The sirens are everywhere now, a chorus of trouble, and he knows he's got to get home before his mom worries. But the note, the number, Claire, they're pulling him somewhere else, somewhere dangerous and alive. In the alley with Lena, the tension's a tightrope, and it's fraying fast. One of the new cops, a broad guy with a buzz cut, steps forward, his hand on his baton. All right, enough, he says, his voice low, final. You're coming with us, lady. Turn around, hands behind your back. Lena doesn't move. Her eyes lock on his, steady, unyielding, and for a split second, he hesitates, like he sees something he can't place. Malone jumps in, eager to regain control. You heard him, move. He shoves her shoulder, hard, and that's when it happens, a flicker in Lena's stance, a shift so subtle only someone trained would notice. Her weight moves to her toes, her shoulders square, her hands flex against the wall. She's not just Lena Carter, the homeless black woman, anymore. She's Ghost, the sniper who never missed, the soldier who survived hell. The crowd senses it, their shouts faltering, like they're holding their breath. The lawyer's eyes narrow, like he knows something's coming. Even Malone pauses, his hand frozen mid-motion, like he's finally realized he's not dealing with just anyone. Ruiz breaks the silence, her voice sharp. Cuffs, now. She steps forward, pulling handcuffs from her belt, but her hands are shaking, her taser still in the other. Lena's mind is a battlefield, every scenario playing out in split seconds. She could let them cuff her, ride it out, disappear into the system again. She's done it before, nights in cells, questions she didn't answer, release with a warning. But something's different tonight. Maybe it's the crowd, their voices giving her strength she'd forgotten. Maybe it's the lawyer, his steady presence a reminder that someone's watching. Or maybe it's her, the part of her that's been buried under years of shame and survival, clawing its way out. She speaks, her voice low, clear, cutting through the chaos. I'm not resisting. But I'm not nothing. The words hang in the air, a challenge, a line drawn. Malone's face twists, rage and fear mixing, and he reaches for his gun. On 63rd Street, Jamal's alley isn't much safer. He's still catching his breath when he hears footsteps, slow, deliberate, coming from the shadows. His heart jumps, his hand tightening on his phone. Who's there? He calls, his voice cracking, sounding younger than he wants. No answer, just the steps, closer now. He thinks of Dre and his crew, the guys who don't like questions, who see a kid alone as easy prey. He thinks of Claire, her voice, her promise of something bigger. He thinks of his mom, waiting for him, and Tasha, who needs him to be better than this place. The footsteps stop, and a figure steps into the streetlight's glow, a man, older, in a dark coat, his face half hidden by a hood. You Jamal, the man asks, his voice rough but calm. Jamal's stomach drops. He nods, barely, his back against the wall. The man smiles, thin and sharp. Claire sent me. You got the note. Jamal's hand goes to his pocket, but he freezes. Something's off. The sirens are louder, the lights closer, and this guy doesn't feel right. He's not sure what's happening, but he knows he's in trouble. Back in the alley, the crowd erupts as Malone's hand hits his holster. Don't do it, the lawyer shouts, his phone still up, his voice a lifeline. The woman in the yellow scarf screams, he's gonna shoot her, and the crowd surges, some stepping back, others pushing forward. The new cops draw their batons, shouting for order, but it's too late. The tightrope snapped. Lena's eyes don't leave Malone's, her body still, but every nerve is screaming. She sees his finger twitch, sees the fear in his eyes, the kind that makes men dangerous. She could stop him, disarm, disable, done in seconds. But the crowd, the cameras, the lawyer, they're all watching. Whatever she does, it's not just about her anymore. Ruiz is yelling at Malone, stand down, but he's not listening, his gun half drawn, his breath ragged. The lawyer steps closer, reckless now, his voice booming. Officer, you draw that weapon, and this is over for you. Back off. Malone freezes, his hand trembling, caught between rage and reason. Lena's voice cuts through again, soft but steel. You don't want this fight. Her words aren't a threat, they're a warning, and everyone feels it. Jamal's alley is a different kind of trap. The man in the coat steps closer, his smile gone. Hand it over, kid, he says, his hand out, like he expects the note. Jamal's mind races. Claire didn't say anything about a guy, didn't mention anyone else. His eyes dart to the alley's end, the streetlights, the flashing sirens now just a block away. I don't know you, he says, backing up, his voice steadier than he feels. The man's eyes narrow, and he steps forward, blocking the way. Don't make this hard, Jamal. Claire don't like waiting. The way he says her name, cold, like a weapon, makes Jamal's skin crawl. He thinks of running, but the man's too close, his stance too sure. Jamal's not a fighter, never has been, but he's not stupid. He slips his hand into his pocket, not for the note, but for the keys he keeps there, sharp enough to hurt if he swings. The sirens are deafening now, lights flooding the street, and the man glances back, cursing under his breath. Jamal sees his chance, but he's not sure he's fast enough. In Lena's alley, the world slows to a heartbeat. Malone's gun is out now, not raised, but free, glinting in the cruiser lights. The crowd screaming, the new cops shouting, Ruiz pleading with Malone to stop. The lawyer's still filming, his voice hoarse but unrelenting. Put it down, officer, now. Lena's still as stone, her eyes locked on Malone's, her mind clear, her body ready. She's not afraid of the gun, she's faced worse, but she's afraid of what she'll do if he pulls the trigger. The Green Beret in her is screaming to act, to end this, but the woman she's become, the one who survived by staying small, is fighting to hold her back. The crowds are raw, the sirens a wail, and Malone's finger is on the trigger, his eyes wild. Lena takes a breath, her decision made, her body shifting, just a fraction, but enough. The alley holds its breath, and everything hangs on what happens next. The alley is a frozen snapshot of chaos, every shout, every flash of red and blue lights locked in a single, breathless moment. Lena Carter's eyes are steady on Officer Malone's, his gun glinting in his trembling hand, his finger twitching on the trigger. The crowd screams blend into a roar, the new cop's batons raised, Officer Ruiz's voice cracking as she yells, Malone, stand down. The lawyer's phone is still up, his voice a desperate anchor. Put it down, officer, don't do this. Lena's body is coiled, her weight shifted, ready to move, disarm, dodge, anything to shift the odds. She's Ghost, the Green Beret sniper, but she's also Lena, the woman who spent years hiding from herself. The crowd, the cameras, the lawyer, they're all watching, and she knows whatever she does now will ripple far beyond this alley. Her breath is slow, deliberate, her mind clear as a battlefield. Then, a new sound cuts through, a sharp crack, not a gunshot, but something else, something heavy hitting the ground behind the dumpster. Everyone freezes, even Malone, his gun still out but his eyes darting toward the noise. Lena's instincts scream, this isn't random. Something's about to change, and it's not in her favor. The crowd's shouts falter, heads turning toward the dumpster as a shadow moves, fast, deliberate, too controlled to be a bystander. A figure steps into the light, a man in a dark jacket, his face partially obscured by a cap pulled low. He's holding a metal pipe, the source of the noise, now dangling loosely in his hand. Enough, he says, his voice low, commanding, like he's used to being heard. The lawyer swings his phone toward him, but the man doesn't flinch. This doesn't need to go further, he adds, his eyes locking on Malone, then shifting to Lena. There's something in his gaze, recognition, maybe, or something deeper. Lena's stomach twists. She doesn't know him, but the way he's standing, the way he holds that pipe like it's an extension of his arm, tells her he's no stranger to trouble. The crowd murmurs, confused, some backing away, others filming this new player. Malone's gun wavers, his focus split. "Who the hell are you?" he snaps, but his voice is thin, fear creeping in. The man doesn't answer, just steps closer, his movements smooth, predatory. Lena's mind races, she's seen men like this in war zones, operatives who move like ghosts. This isn't just a good Samaritan. He's here for a reason, and she's not sure she wants to know what it is. Across town, Jamal Harris is backed against the alley wall, his keys clutched tight in his fist, the sharp edges biting into his palm. The man in the dark coat looms closer, his hand outstretched, demanding the note. "Give it up, kid," he says, his voice cold, no trace of the warmth Claire had on the phone. The sirens are deafening now, red and blue lights flooding the street just beyond the alley's mouth, but the man doesn't seem fazed. Jamal's heart hammers, his eyes darting for an escape. The note, Claire's note, with its promise of something bigger, is still in his pocket, and he's not about to hand it over to this guy. "Claire didn't say nothing about you," Jamal says, his voice steadier than he feels. The man's smile is gone, replaced by a hard stare. "You don't know what you're in, kid. That note's not for you." Jamal's mind spins, how does this guy know about the note? Did Claire set him up? The thought hits like a punch, but he pushes it down. He's got to get out of this, and fast. The sirens are closer, cruisers probably just seconds away, and he sees the man glance back, his jaw tightening. Jamal grips his keys harder, ready to swing, but then the man does something unexpected, he steps back, raising his hands like he's giving up. "Your call, Jamal," he says, his voice low, almost amused. "But you're not ready for what's coming." Before Jamal can respond, the man melts into the shadows, gone as fast as he appeared. Back in Lena's alley, the man with the pipe is a wild card, and it's tilting everything. The new cops are shouting at him to drop the weapon, their batons ready, but he doesn't budge. "I'm not your problem," he says, his voice calm, directed at the cops but his eyes flicking to Lena. She catches it, the way he's watching her, like he knows who she is, not the homeless woman, but Ghost, the sniper, the legend. Her pulse quickens. She's been off the grid for years, her past buried so deep even the VA couldn't find her. But this guy, he's not here by chance. Malone's gun is still out, but he's hesitating, thrown by this new threat. Ruiz steps forward, her taser aimed at the man. "Drop it, now," she yells, but her voice shakes. The lawyer's filming, his voice steady despite the chaos. "Officers, de-escalate, you're being recorded." The crowd's a mess, some chanting, others scattering as the tension spikes. Lena's eyes stay on the man with the pipe, her mind piecing it together. He's not just intervening, he's targeting her, and that means her past isn't as buried as she thought. The question is, what does he want, and how much trouble is he bringing? Jamal's alley feels like a trap springing shut. The man's gone, but his words linger, "You're not ready for what's coming." Jamal's shaking, his keys still in his hand, the note burning in his pocket. The sirens are right on top of him now, a cruiser screeching to a stop at the alley's mouth. Two cops jump out, their flashlights cutting through the dark. "Hey, kid, you alright?" one calls, his voice sharp but not hostile. Jamal nods, his throat tight, and slips the keys back into his pocket. "Yeah, I'm good," he says, forcing his voice to stay calm. The cops glance around, like they're looking for someone else, and Jamal realizes they might have seen the man in the coat. He could tell them, could point them toward the shadows, but something stops him. Claire, the note, the man, they're connected, and ratting out the guy might mean losing whatever chance the note represents. He takes a step back, toward the street, his hands up to show he's no trouble. "Just heading home," he says, and the cops nod, distracted, already turning back to their cruiser. Jamal's not safe yet, but he's got a choice to make: go home, forget the note, or show up at that coffee shop tomorrow and face whatever Claire's pulling him into. His gut says run, but his heart says stay. He's never listened to his heart before, and it scares him more than the man in the coat. In Lena's alley, The standoff is a powder keg, and the man with the pipe is the spark. He hasn't dropped it, hasn't moved, just stands there, his eyes on Lena like she's the only one who matters. "Lena Carter," he says, his voice low, deliberate, and the world tilts. The crowd doesn't catch it, too busy shouting, but Malone does, his gun jerking slightly. "What'd you say?" he snaps, like he's been slapped. Lena's blood runs cold. No one said her name, her real name, in years. She burned her dog tags, ditched her ID, became a ghost. But this man knows, and that means her past is catching up, right here, right now. The lawyer's eyes widen, his phone still up, like he's piecing something together. Ruiz is yelling at the man to get on the ground, but he ignores her, his focus on Lena. "You don't belong here," he says, not cruel, but certain, like he's stating a fact. "They don't know who you are. But I do." Lena's mind screams, run, fight, hide, but her body stays still, her training holding her steady. She doesn't know him, doesn't know what he wants, but she knows one thing: he's not leaving without her, and that's a fight she's not sure she can win without becoming ghost again. The crowd's a frenzy, the cops closing in, Malone's gun still out, his finger twitching. The man with the pipe takes a step toward Lena, and the new cops shout, "Drop it or you're done." He doesn't, his eyes never leaving her, like he's waiting for her to make a move. Lena's heart pounds, her past and present colliding in this filthy alley. She could end this, take the pipe, disarm Malone, scatter the cops, but at what cost? The cameras, the lawyer, the crowd, they're all watching, and Ghost doesn't play nice with witnesses. Her eyes flick to the man, then to Malone, then to the alley's end, where more lights are flashing, more sirens screaming. "Time's up." She speaks, her voice low, steady, a warning to everyone and no one. "You're all making a mistake." The man with the pipe smiles, faint, like he's been waiting for this. Malone's gun rises an inch, his face pale. The crowd holds its breath, and the alley teeters on the edge of something unstoppable. The alley is a heartbeat from explosion, every sound, shouts, sirens, the crowd's roar crashing together in a deafening pulse. Lena Carter stands rigid, her eyes locked on the man with the pipe, his words, "Lena Carter, they don't know who you are, but I do," still ringing in her ears. Officer Malone's gun is raised now, his finger trembling on the trigger, his face a mask of panic and rage. Officer Ruiz is screaming at him to stop, her taser aimed at the man with the pipe, who hasn't flinched, his gaze steady on Lena like she's the only thing in the world. The lawyer's voice booms, "Lower your weapon, officer, this is on camera," as the crowd surges, phones up, some chanting, others backing away in fear. The new cops are closing in, batons drawn, their shouts lost in the chaos. Lena's mind is a storm ghost, the Green Beret sniper, screams to act, to end this, while Lena, the woman who survived by staying small, fights to keep control. Her hands flex, her body ready, but the man with the pipe takes another step, his voice cutting through. "Time to come home, ghost." The words hit like a bullet, and in that split second, everything shifts. Malone's gun jerks, his finger tightening, but Lena moves first, faster than anyone expects. She twists, her elbow slamming into his wrist, the gun clattering to the pavement before he can fire. The crowd gasps, the lawyer's phone catching every second. Malone stumbles, shocked, as Lena spins, her training kicking in, her body a weapon. She doesn't touch him again, just steps back, hands up, her eyes on the man with the pipe. "Who are you?" she demands, her voice low, steady, but laced with something raw, fear, maybe, or recognition she can't place. The man smiles, thin and knowing. "Someone who's been looking for you," he says, dropping the pipe with a clang, his hands raised to show he's no threat. The new cops lunge, tackling him to the ground, cuffs snapping on, but he doesn't resist, his eyes still on Lena, like he's won something. Ruiz is on Malone, pulling him back, yelling, "You're done, you hear me?" The crowd erupts, some cheering, others filming, the lawyer shouting for calm. Lena stands still, her breath heavy, her past crashing into her present like a tidal wave. She's not invisible anymore, and that terrifies her more than the gun ever did. Across town, Jamal Harris is running, his sneakers pounding the pavement, the note in his pocket a burning weight. The cops at the alley's mouth let him go, but the man in the coat's words, "You're not ready for what's coming," chase him through the streets. He's almost home, the familiar lights of his apartment building in sight, when his phone buzzes. He stops, panting, and pulls it out. A text, from the number he called, Claire's number. Don't run, Jamal. You're already in. Coffee shop, noon. Trust me. His stomach twists. He wants to throw the phone, to forget the note, to go back to his normal life, school, his mom, Tasha. But the note's promise, the hope it sparked, won't let go. He types a reply, his fingers shaking. Who was that guy? No answer comes, but he knows he's going to that coffee shop. He's in too deep to turn back, and the thought of what's waiting, opportunity or danger, makes his heart race. He slips the phone into his pocket and heads inside, the note's words echoing, "You're worth more than you know." Back in the alley, the chaos is settling, but the tension's far from gone. Malone's cuffed now, Ruiz and another cop dragging him to a cruiser, his shouts fading as the door slams. The man with the pipe is in another car, his face calm, like he expected this. Lena's still standing, her hands down, the crowd watching her like she's something new, a hero, maybe, or a mystery. The lawyer approaches, his phone off now, his eyes kind but sharp. "Lena Carter," he says softly, like he's testing the name. "You're not what you seem, are you?" She doesn't answer, her gaze on the cruiser with the man inside. The lawyer lowers his voice. "I know someone who can help. Veterans Services, legal aid. You don't have to stay out here." Lena's throat tightens. She's spent years running from help, from her past, but tonight, something's cracked open. She nods, just once, and he hands her a card. "Call me. Please." The crowd's thinning, some still filming, others drifting away, but Lena feels their eyes, their respect, their questions. She's not Ghost tonight, not fully, but she's not nothing either. For the first time in years, she feels like Lena Carter again. The cruisers pull away, sirens fading, and Lena's alone in the alley, the lawyer's card in her hand, her green jacket heavy with the night's weight. She thinks of the man with the pipe, his words, "Come home, Ghost," and a chill runs through her. He knew her past, and that means someone's been watching, waiting. She's off the grid, or so she thought, but tonight proves otherwise. Her sniper instincts kick in, scanning the shadows, the rooftops, the alley's end. She's not safe, not yet, and whatever he wanted, it's not over. She tucks the card into her pocket and starts walking, her steps deliberate, her mind already planning. She'll call the lawyer, maybe, but first, she needs answers. Who was that man? What does he know? And why, after all these years, is her past coming for her now? Jamal's in his room, the note on his desk, the apartment quiet except for Tasha's TV in the next room. He's staring at the note, the words blurring, "You're worth more." He thinks of Claire, her voice, her promise. He thinks of the man in the coat, his threat, his warning. He thinks of the sirens, the cops, the feeling that he's stepped into something bigger than himself. His mom's at work, and he's glad she'd see the worry in his eyes, ask questions he can't answer. He picks up the note, folds it, and slips it under his pillow. Tomorrow, he'll go to that coffee shop. He'll meet Claire, ask her about the man, the note, everything. He's scared, but he's tired of playing it safe, tired of believing he's not enough. He lies down, the note's weight lingering, and closes his eyes, the city's hum outside his window. He doesn't know what's coming, but he's ready to find out, or so he hopes. The final twist comes at dawn, as Lena sits in a 24-hour diner, a coffee cooling in front of her, the lawyer's card on the table. She's been up all night, her mind turning over the man with the pipe, his words, his smile. She's about to leave, to start digging for answers, when the TV above the counter flickers to the news. A breaking story: a high-profile military contractor's office was raided last night, files stolen, secrets exposed. The anchor mentions a name, Lena Carter, a former Green Beret, linked to classified missions, now a person of interest. Lena's blood runs cold. The man with the pipe wasn't just after her, he was after what she knows, secrets she buried years ago, missions she thought were forgotten. The diner's empty, but she feels eyes everywhere. Her past isn't just catching up, it's hunting her. She grabs the card, leaves the coffee, and steps into the morning light, her steps quick, her eyes sharp. She's not running anymore. She's fighting, And whoever's coming for her is about to meet Ghost. Jamal's story isn't done either. As he sleeps, his phone buzzes again, another text from Claire. "You're not alone, Jamal. Look out your window." He wakes, heart pounding, and pulls back the curtain. Across the street, under a street lamp, a figure stands, a woman, blonde, pregnant, her face unmistakable. Claire. She's watching, smiling, like she's always known he'd choose this path. Jamal's breath catches, fear and hope colliding. He's in, deeper than he ever imagined, and the game's just beginning. The city hums, oblivious, as two lives, Lena's and Jamal's, barrel toward futures they can't yet see, tied by secrets, choices, and the courage to be more than the world expects. The morning sun cuts through Chicago's skyline, casting long shadows as Lena Carter steps out of the diner, the lawyer's card tucked in her pocket, her green jacket zipped against the chill. The news report still burns in her mind, her name, Lena Carter, tied to a raided military contractor, secrets she thought she'd buried now spilling into the open. She's not just a homeless black woman anymore, not just Ghost, the Green Beret sniper who vanished after her tours. She's a target, and the man with the pipe from last night's alley knew it. Her steps are quick, her eyes scanning every corner, every face, her training keeping her sharp. The city hums around her, cars honking, pedestrians rushing, but she's alone in her mission. She needs answers: who's after her, what they want, and how deep this goes. The lawyer's card is a lifeline, but first, she's got to find the man who called her Ghost, the one who upended her world in that alley. She heads toward the precinct where they took him, her heart steady but heavy. She's done running. Whatever's coming, she's facing it as Lena Carter, not a shadow. Across town, Jamal Harris is awake, the note from Claire on his desk, its words, "You're worth more than you know," etched into his thoughts. The text from last night, the sight of Claire outside his window, has him rattled. He's 17, just a black kid from Englewood, but he's caught in something bigger, something that feels like a movie he didn't sign up for. His mom's still at work, Tasha's asleep, and the apartment's quiet, giving him space to think. He pulls on his hoodie, grabs the note, and heads out, his sneakers scuffing the sidewalk. The coffee shop on 47th is a 20-minute walk, and he's got till noon to decide if he's really doing this. Claire's voice, warm but cryptic, plays in his head. "You're already in." The man in the coat, his threat, his warning, it all swirls together, fear and hope fighting for control. Jamal's never been one for risks, but the note's promise, the chance to be more than his grades, his neighborhood, his past, pulls him forward. He's going to that coffee shop. He's got to know what Claire wants, who she is, and why she chose him. Lena's at the precinct now, the building a grey slab of concrete, its doors buzzing with cops and civilians. She hesitates, her hand on the lawyer's card, her instincts screaming to stay off the grid. But the man with the pipe is her only lead, and she's not walking away. Inside, the desk sergeant barely looks up, his voice gruff. "What do you want?" Lena keeps it simple. "I'm here about the guy from the alley last night, the one with the pipe." The sergeant frowns, checks his computer, then shakes his head. "No record of him." Lena's gut twists. No record. She saw them cuff him, saw the cruiser take him away. "Check again," she says, her voice firm, her eyes locking on his. He sighs, types some more, then shrugs. Nothing. Maybe they let him go. She knows better. Men like that don't just slip through. Someone's covering tracks, and that means she's in deeper than she thought. She steps outside, her mind racing. The lawyer's her next move. She pulls out the card, James Whitaker, attorney at law, and dials the number, her fingers steady despite the storm inside her. Jamal's at the coffee shop, the bell above the door jingling as he steps in. It's cozy, all warm wood and the smell of fresh grounds, but he's on edge, scanning every face. Claire's not here yet, or maybe she's watching, like last night. He orders a water, his pockets are light, and sits by the window, the note folded in his hand. The clock ticks past noon, and his nerves tighten. What if she doesn't show? What if the man in the coat does? His phone buzzes, and he jumps, pulling it out. Another text from Claire, "Look to your left." His heart skips, and he turns, expecting her blonde hair, her pregnant silhouette. Instead, it's a woman, older, maybe 50, her skin dark like his, her eyes kind but sharp. She slides into the seat across from him, her smile soft. "Jamal," she says, her voice not Claire's but warm, familiar somehow. "I'm not Claire, but she sent me. My name's Marion." He blinks, confused, his hand tightening on the note. "Where's Claire? What's going on?" Marion leans in, her voice low. "Claire's real, but she's careful. She saw something in you, same as I do. That note's your ticket, but you've got to trust me." Lena's on the phone with Whitaker, his voice calm, professional, but there's an edge, like he's been waiting for her call. "I saw what you did in that alley, Ms. Carter," he says. "You're not just anyone. Meet me at my office, 2 p.m. We'll talk options, legal, veteran services, whatever you need." She hesitates, her sniper instincts wary of traps, but his tone feels genuine. "What about the man with the pipe?" she asks. A pause, then Whitaker's voice lowers. "He's gone. No record, like he never existed. But I've got contacts. We'll find him." Lena's chest tightens. "Gone, just like the sergeant said." She agrees to the meeting, hangs up, and starts walking, her eyes scanning the street. The news report flashes in her mind, classified missions, stolen files, her name in the mix. She was part of ops she never fully understood, targets she hit because she was ordered to. If those secrets are out, someone wants her silenced, or worse, used. She's got to move fast, stay sharp, and trust Whitaker, or at least use him to get what she needs. At the coffee shop, Marion's talking, and Jamal's trying to keep up. "Claire's part of a network," she says, her eyes scanning the room. "We find kids like you, smart, kind, stuck in places that don't see your worth. That note's an invite, Jamal. Training, education, a way out." He stares, his mind spinning. "Like a scholarship." Marion nods, but her smile fades. "More than that. It's a commitment. The man in the coat, he's a problem, someone who doesn't like what we do. Claire sent him to watch you, but he's gone rogue." Jamal's stomach drops. "Watch me? Why?" Marion's eyes soften. "Because you're special, Jamal. Claire saw it when you gave her your seat. But this path, it's not easy. You in?" He thinks of his mom, Tasha, the man's threat, the note's promise. He's scared, but he's tired of being scared. "I'm in," he says, his voice firm. Marion slides a card across the table, a program name, an address. "Start here. We'll handle the rest." He takes it, his heart pounding, hope winning over fear for the first time in years. Lena's at Whitaker's office, a small space cluttered with files and coffee mugs. He's older than she expected, his suit worn but his eyes sharp. "You're a hero, Ms. Carter," he says, leaning back. "Green Beret, sniper, medals you never claimed." "I checked." She stiffens, but he raises a hand. "I'm on your side. The man from last night, he's tied to a contractor, Blackthorn. They're dirty, and they want something you know." Lena's mind flashes to her last mission, a target, a file, orders she questioned but followed. "What do they want?" she asks. Whitaker sighs. "Information. You were part of ops they're trying to erase. The raid last night? Someone's leaking their secrets, and they think it's you." She shakes her head. "I've been off the grid for years." He nods. "Exactly why they're scared. You're a ghost they can't control." He offers a plan, legal protection, veteran housing, a way to fight back. Lena listens, her heart heavy but lifting. She's not alone anymore. She agrees, her voice steady. "Let's do this." Days later, Lena's in a small apartment, her first real home in years, Whitaker's team working to clear her name. Blackthorn's under investigation, the man with the pipe still a shadow, but she's not running. She's Lena Carter, survivor, fighter, and she's ready to reclaim her life. Jamal's at a training program, his mom proud, Tasha cheering, the note framed on his wall. Claire's network is real, a chance to study, grow, escape Inglewood's pull. The man in the coat's a lingering threat, but Jamal's not alone either. He's found his worth, his path, his fight. The city keeps moving, its pulse steady, but Lena and Jamal are different now. They've faced their fears, their pasts, their futures. The takeaway? Courage isn't loud, it's the quiet choice to stand, to trust, to believe you're more. Lena's not ghost anymore, but she's not nothing. Jamal's not just a kid, he's a spark, a future. Their stories echo, a reminder that no one's invisible, and every choice matters. Chicago hums on, but for them, the fight's just begun, and they're ready.